Alright guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. With OpTic's decision to get rid of Caesar, Skyz and bring in Mercules to their team for the rest of the season, Skyz has now given his response to the situation, what he might do next, and also his thoughts for the Warlord after the decisions that were made over the last few days. Will this OpTic team substantially improve? Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Just before we start, wanted to touch on a couple of topics that I was going to mention last night, but never got the chance because OpTic decided to blow up their team. Now, this is a pretty crazy feeling. I think many are confident that OpTic will make it to champs now. I mean, I think I was confident enough even with Skyz. They had a 40-point gap ahead of Rocket, ahead of Cloud9, and with Mercules, you wouldn't imagine they're going to have too much difficulties holding on to that advantage. But I will say, if Rocket have a really good performance at Major 4 and they do well for the rest of this stint, even though they lost to Falcons the other day, that was unacceptable. Who knows if this could be relevant, right? Do you guys remember at the start of the season, Kenny clutched this pretty crazy 1v2 against Thieves to take them down? Feels like, of course, an awful long time ago. That secured OpTic 10 points at the time. And, you know, could you imagine if OpTic or if Kenny missed out by 10 points? That's his own doing earlier in the season, was his undoing at the end of the year. He was also discussing how there are and continue to be frustrations with the state of the CDL. We know that players in Kenny's position, certainly Formal back in the Cold War season, got very frustrated, and for good reason, with the state of the online qualifiers. He was not especially happy with that, and I mean, that was mainly the reason why Formal just decided to call it a day, lost passion for the scene. And Kenny says, look, as much as the original year of the CDL was not great in many respects, he does believe that LAN matches of some form every weekend probably would be better than what we currently have. Now, would I prefer it? No, not necessarily, just because well, I would love LAN, obviously, but my point is that this was the world's tour that Kenny's talking about and was initially proposed back in 2020, and if you guys haven't seen this before, there would only be, I mean, including, I guess, excluding the launch weekends, 2 tournaments the whole year. There'd be a mid-season weekend where there would presumably be a champion, and then a championship weekend where there would be a champion. Every other weekends was not even a championship where there was a winner. It was purely league matches played around the world. So basically what we do now, but instead of having qualifiers for a major, you would just have regular league matches that would kind of seed you for the mid-season and end-of-season tournaments, but they would happen all around the world on LAN. So it's a difficult one because as a fan, I definitely prefer what we have now. Like, we have more major tournaments than were initially proposed. Would I improve the current format by saying instead of doing the online qualifiers, instead, if we have to do it online, be better if we could do it online, but if we have to do it online, let's run minors every weekend. That would be my preferred format, is to say, screw the qualifiers. Every weekend we're going to have a minor tournament, and it's going to be, I don't know, we're going to have to do 2 streams and make it double elimination, because otherwise teams, you know, the terrible teams will literally play 1 game a weekend forever, which is probably not what you want to see if it was single elim like it has been the minors that we had so far this season. Those would be my changes. This does not cut it for me, having loads of weekends where there's no winner, you just play league games. But Kenny is like, well, look, I'd even probably take this because at least I'd get to play more LAN COD than suffering online at playing scrims all week to then turn up to the weekend and play 1 match on the final match of Sunday if you're up to gaming, and then call it a day for another week. So that was the kind of discussion there. There's also a lot of talk and a few updates around the CDL. So the game is now played on the new patch, and that is potentially good, potentially bad. We'll discuss the pros and cons in a second. Now, the pros, and certainly the challengers discussed this for some time, about because the Jackal's been nerfed. So are they going to make changes? Rumor has it, according to Parasite, discussed this last night, and now this has been apparently made official, that the muzzle on the aims is going to go. So they're actually going to nerf the AR. Can you believe it? The AR's getting nerfed. Not really on paper a strong years for the ARs so far. The SMG has generally been pretty good, but to be fair, the likes of Cell, Scrap, they're still pretty much topping some of the numbers in terms of the season, and I actually think the balance between the aims and the Jackal this year has been pretty damn good. Now, the feeling is from the SMGs, with the new patch, it's not as good, so the reinforced barrel is back on the sub from a GA perspective, and the aims is going to have its muzzle gone. That's what we're going to see. We'll see whether the C9, I mean, the pros aren't going to use it, right? But in ranked, the C9 will likely become a really strong gun. So, yeah, we'll see if that goes anywhere. But that's the update for the day. We also have new control spawns. And this is going to be a big talking point of the weekends. Some people like them, some people don't like them. Beans is talking about it, saying that they've cooked up some vault control spawns. He doesn't seem particularly impressed with them. It may be more punishing for the defenders. That's the current theory, but I'm not actually sure how it's going to play in reality. I guess we'll see. The other big problem is around the Codcaster. Now, I thought they said they fixed it with the glitches on the KDs, and I find it so frustrating as a fan, because look, I watch a lot of COD, as you know. So we know when we watch the games, oh, the scoreboard's broken again. But if you're a brand new fan, you're tuning into the CDL for the first time, and you're like, hang on, why is this guy 0-1 in the third round of control? And then I look at the bottom right and it says that, oh, he's actually 15-14. It's like, well, hang on a second. So, you know, obviously that's wrong and it's broken, but it's still really frustrating. Even if you know that it's broken, it's still so frustrating. I thought they'd fixed it, they clearly haven't fixed it, and now apparently they've broken it even more. So Benjay was watching some Pro 8s, and he says that the Codcast is even worse. People are going to tune in and have zero clue how much time is left in the hill, number of ticks in control, etc. So apparently they've just broken it again, and even the timers now are messed up. So, you know, get your stopwatches ready, ladies and gentlemen, when we're playing hardpoint, so we know when the teams have to rotate to the next hill. So, yeah, as Bean says, surely we can't play on this patch with a cast like that. That is unwatchable. But look, they're going to play on the new patch update, and are they going to fix the Codcaster before this weekend's? Unlikely. So we'll see if they can fix it. I mean, it's going to be an absolute shambles, isn't it? I can't wait. On some level, I can't wait to see how this transpires. But let's get back to the OpTic drama, because it's all been going on over the last couple of days, as always with OpTic, and Mercury's turned the stream on yesterday and bang, smashed in a load of viewers. It definitely made the right decision, holding off and getting the OpTic juice. And of course, gets to play for OpTic straight away. It does not get too much better than that. So Skyz was officially benched, so he's still with OpTic for the time being, but that may not be the case in the off-season. What Skyz does next, where he goes next, you know, how's Skyz stock looking? He's still a versatile player. You know, okay, he's been main AR, but he can potentially run an SMG or run something at a bit more pace if he wants to. The thing is, he just can't do that at the level that Mercury's probably can. So, you know, that's why I think this move makes a fair bit of sense. But I remember the Modern Warfare 19 days where Skyz would put out an MP5 and would actually kind of fry with it. So maybe there's still a future for Skyz on decent teams, but of course his stock has taken a bit of a battering over the last couple of years since winning the World Championship. The Gentlemate stint wasn't good, but he's still got friends in the scene, so I think if he still wants to compete, that's absolutely an option. Next year, of course, for the rest of this year, he's going to be on OpTic's bench, it seems. So, as he says, good luck to the boys. Should have played better. It's on me. Love you guys. I'll be back stronger. So, you know, good message from Skyz. You know, no salt or anything, right? Like, he plays it straight, basically. And even Dashy was in the reply saying, go to teammate Bueno, till next time. Now, I thought the till next time was not outrageous, but like the till next time was like, what exactly do you mean by till next time? In an ideal world, you'll never play with him again, like not disrespectfully, right? But in an ideal world, this new OpTic roster is the best roster ever formed, and, you know, they don't need to make another change, certainly not bring Skyz back in. I know that Dashy doesn't really mean it like that, but you know what I'm saying, right? People were certainly commenting on this whole till next time idea and saying, hang on a second, what exactly do you mean by that? This, though, was the funny clip from Shotzzy's stream. Now, Skyz is a great guy, like, super friendly, great to be around, and, you know, he's trolly, right? Like, he'll take the piss, and I think he's a great character. He really is a great character, Skyz, and this, I think, is one such example. So, he was in Shotzzy's chat yesterday, doing his best to take the mick out of the Warlord, right? So, as he says, you better raid me every day, Warlord. I thought this is comedy, really, making the point that, yeah, Skyz is going to be turning the stream on, and because he's no longer going to be playing with the Green Wall, with OpTic, then after Shotzzy's done with his stream, let's make sure we get at least 5 gifted, 10 gifted, thrown over there to Skyz after treating him like this and, you know, calling Shotzzy the Warlord. At the end of the day, who was on the phone to Skyz to tell him, yep, we're going to move on to Mercury's? It was probably Shotzzy. Shotzzy was the one that told Pred earlier in the year that that was going to be happening as well. I mean, he literally said that on stream at the time. And it certainly does seem like Shotzzy has been in Warlord mode, based on what we talked about earlier today. This rumour anyway, that Shotzzy wanted Skyz gone and wanted Mercury's in. And, you know, maybe he had to convince some others that that was the right move to make. And then eventually it happened and Shotzzy got his way and they executed on the change. So where do they go from here? Really OpTic as well. I know that the guys were talking about it on stream last night and saying that they think Mercury's is going to make them better. One of their issues is that they freak out a lot of moments. Mercury's is like very calm. Honestly, really, really impressive for a rookie, someone so, you know, young and fresh to the scene to, you know, be at least speaking in this way. You kind of felt it at the major. Now, look, did he throw up the birds to Super? Yeah, he did, right? So, like, he did throw the birds up, but also Super had done it to him earlier on, so that was kind of a get back. I don't think that Mercury's is the guy to go out of his way to talk some trash, although I'm absolutely here for it, right? Like, I do, like, do I want Mercury's to be super calm and chill and never trash talk or never say anything interesting? No. Obviously, I want him to be a character because it's better for the scene, and I think he is a bit of a character, but in-game, he is very calm and reserved and chill and will, you know, talk in the way that, you know, he's not going to blow up the comms, right? Like, the reason why when he joined Toronto, you can listen to their comms and just how, I mean, I can listen to their comms all day, Toronto comms, I find it wonderful. Like, we could just have a listen in with Toronto the whole time. And Mercury's fit right into that, right? He really did slot nicely in. So I think that could be a benefit for OpTic because, you know, there have been some moments this season where the comms get a bit aggressive, you know, they maybe speak a bit too quickly, they lose track on some information, and then they end up bottling a crucial rotation or a key moment. And that's something that maybe Mercury's, even as far from a veteran, might help resolve. Now, thought this is pretty funny, right? Mercury's will become only the 6th ever rookie to compete for OpTic. Now, 4 of those rookies were back in 2010, when, I mean, it was pretty much these guys' first seasons competing on some level, really, when Nadeshot came in 2010. Merc, can you believe it, came in? I know there was some talk about Merc and Mercury's and OpTic Merc is back and all this. So, you know, for those that don't know, Caster Merc, who's with Maven, of course, not in a relationship, you know, Caster and Maven, at least as far as I'm aware. So yeah, Merc was obviously an OpTic player back in the day, and now we have the new Merc in the modern day, Flawless, and then Vengeance. Of course, some notable players, those guys, at least, well, Vengeance was part of the team that won COD XP that year with Nadeshot, and then it took 13 years before OpTic gave another rookie a chance, and that rookie was Ghosty. And it rather well worked out. I mean, obviously, the future for Ghosty has been pretty interesting. He never won when he was with OpTic, but they certainly did better than I think many expected him to. Then he's gone to Thieves and had now great success and finally won a chip over the last couple of weeks. What's the future for Mercury's? Probably very bright, let's be real, and I think OpTic have done a commendable job at least taking this risk. It may not work, you never know, but I think that, you know, given the circumstances, it is the correct move to make at this time. I didn't hate the idea of keeping Skyz, but it was not an ambitious decision. This is it's a more ambitious move, right? They're taking some risks to try and get significantly better, and who knows, there's some confidence, I'm sure, from the OpTic fans right now that maybe there's even a chance, as this season winds down, that they become seriously competitive sometime between now and the end of the season. So very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
The teams live in the actual cities they were named after in MW19. Yeah, for the most part. Most teams, yeah. I think that's obviously the best way. I just think that year, like, I think it should have went in reverse. I'm not gonna lie. I should have started out with, like, how it is now and then went to that. Just because of the fact that, like, I feel like the first year, like, servers and online Call of Duty just wasn't taken into account. And to be fair, it kind of does make sense why I wouldn't take into account, because obviously people couldn't predict COVID. But also to the format and the scheduling, like, looking at it from now, was kind of OD. Like, we were supposed to, like, travel literally every weekend for just one match. But, like, obviously, I probably would take that now than these online matches. I'm not gonna lie. This online shit for the birds. Literally scrim for a whole week to play one match a weekend, or 2 maybe. And sometimes you literally scrim for a whole week just to play one match on a Sunday. Last match, when I was on OpTic, we would scrim for a whole week, last match on Sunday.